Welcome to GRTS News with me, Winifred Nico, but first, the headlines. Scrutiny into the financial dealings of former President Jammeh continues as officials of institutions and close associates testify before the Jammeh Commission. The Gambia joins the international community to commemorate World Food Day. The head coach of Gunjur Super Nawetan team claims individual prizes of last year's competition have not been paid to the side. And the death toll in the bomb blast in Mogadishu rises to 300 as hundreds more people suffer horrific injuries. Well, viewers, those are the headlines. Thanks for joining us once again. The Chief Executive Officer, Competence Company Limited, Sheriff Sawane, was among the latest who appeared on Monday before the Jammeh Commission of Inquiry, investigating the financial dealings of Yahya Jammeh and his close associates. Suma Jadama reports.
Competence Company Limited, Sheriff Sawane, was summoned to clarify a number of businesses he is operating and as well shed light on numerous contracts and payments he received from different public enterprises and accounts through the office of the former president.
You received from the tax recovery account at Trust Bank Limited 3 payments, and these payments are on the 4th of October 2013. You received $1,947,346. Why were you receiving so much money from the office of the president?
I had various contracts.
You had?
Yeah.
Sorry, you had?
Various contracts.
Various contracts.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell the Commission about these contracts and how you came to have them.
One is from OP, and that is Justice Department, Ministry Building. And then...
One is Justice Department, Ministry Building. Can you explain further what is this Justice Department, Ministry Building?
It was for renovation of the Ministry Building, Attorney General Chamber, AG Chamber.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the main building.
Who gave you this contract?
Actually, from OP.
By OP, you mean Office of the President?
Office of the President, yes.
Yes, tell us how you got this contract.
No, I was called, I think, if my memory serves me well, either by Secretary to Cabinet or Secretary General. I cannot remember that I should...
But you can't remember the office. Do you remember the names of the persons who called you?
Yeah, there has been several calls, so I can't remember which one of them, particularly for Justice Department.
Who was Secretary to Cabinet at the time?
At that time was Nuha Toure.
Sawane maintained that apart from official contracts awarded to his company by the office of the former president, he has also done some private work for Yahya Jammeh. These private works, he added, were the rehabilitation of 3-story building in Kanilai at a tune of $4.5 million and the fencing of the then Kanilai International Family Farm in Farato. Suma Jadama, reporting for GRTS.
The Gambia joins the rest of the world to observe World Food Day today. The day is set aside to tackle global hunger. The theme for this year's commemoration is Change the Future of Migration, Invest in Food Security and Rural Development. In a statement to mark the day, the Minister of Agriculture, Omar Amadou Jallo, said his ministry is in close collaboration with partners to assist youth groups and associations to venture into productive activities contributing to socio-economic development. Let's take a listen.
Fellow Gambians, the new Gambia under the President has a lot to offer to the youth, provided they stay and are ready to work. Under this new dispensation, and on my ministry in particular, we are going to work in close collaboration with our international partners and financiers, especially the FAO, to assist the youth to form groups and associations to venture into productive ventures and activities so as to contribute in a meaningful contribution to the social economic development of this country. Investing in food security has been the clarion call for the Ministry of Agriculture. This is enshrined in the Ministry's vision of transforming agriculture into a sustainable, modernized, diversified production and export-oriented sector, which will contribute to improve food security, improve farmers' livelihood, and of course, improve the overall economic development of all Gambians.
The Minister of Agriculture, Omar Amadou Jallow, there, delivering a televised statement on World Food Day. Meanwhile, the FAO country representative, Madam Perpetua Katepa-Kalala, said FAO plans to address the structural drivers of large movements of people in order to make a migration safe, orderly, and regular. She said 815 million people suffered from hunger in 2016, according to the 2017 State of Food Security and Nutrition Report. This, she noted, was largely due to conflicts, drought, and floods around the world. Let's take a listen.
This year's slogan for World Food Day, which is 16th of October, is "Change the future of migration. Invest in food security and rural development." It addresses the structural drivers of large movements of people in order to make migration safe, orderly, and regular. This is all the more pertinent today because the numbers of hungry people are on the rise again after decades of progress. According to the 2017 State of Food Security and Nutrition Report, SOFI, 815 million people suffered from hunger in 2016, an increase of 38 million people compared to 2015. This was largely due to conflicts, droughts, and floods around the world. FAO is working to address the root causes of migration. This means promoting policy options that favor vulnerable people. It includes youth job training and inclusive access to credit, crafting social protection programs that offer cash or in-kind transfers, special measures to support those returning to rural areas of origin, and offering assistance for the provision of seeds, fertilizers, and animal health services. Fine-tuning early warning systems for weather risks, and working for sustainable natural resource and land use. As co-chair of the 2018 Global Migration Group, comprising 22 UN agencies and the World Bank, FAO will advocate for solutions that make migration an act of choice and not a desperate last resort. Agriculture and rural development have a key role to play in this.
That was the FAO representative delivering a statement on World Food Day. And to other stories. Project Aid, the Gambia, an international NGO, in collaboration with a Germany-based NGO called Peace Village, Monday organized a treatment and check-in service for their former patients. Kajetu Juwara has the rest of that story.
The 4 patients who have set to undergo medical treatment on the 16th October 2017 are between the ages of 3 and 12. The children are suffering from different ailments. Speaking to journalists, the project manager, Mark Suso, said the project's objective is to ensure that Gambian children have access to medical health care. He pointed out that the project has been contributing immensely to the welfare and health of Gambian children with health implications that needs overseas treatment.
Our aim and objective of this project is to ensure that Gambian children have good access and affordable health medical care services. You will see before they leave this country, their life is something else. But once they have the opportunity to go to Germany for treatment, and then when they come back, you can see the treatment has been impacted in their life.
Suso noted that the treatment has impacted the lives of many children. One of the parents of the beneficiaries, Ibrahim Asedi, said this is the second time his son is going for treatment in Germany, and it has been very effective. They thank Project Aid and its partners for the initiative. The social worker responsible for the project activities in Germany said they are taking children to Germany for treatment that can be done in the Gambia. She said the treatment will be successful and help patients to have better health.
There are some patients who are coming for treatment. Some of them are former patients who have been already treated, and some of them are new patients where we check if there's treatment possible or not. So in general, we are taking out children to Germany where there's no treatment possible in the Gambia, but treatment in Europe is thought of to be successful. These are different diseases.
She advised Gambians to register their children with deformity of legs and other health problems at Project Aid to get medical treatment they need. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Khadija Tujuwara.
The Department of Water Resources on Monday organized a technical workshop at the KMC grounds. The meeting was meant to strengthen climate services and early warning systems within the Gambia. Modu Bajan reports.
As local communities fight their own private climate issues, the Department of Water Resources has decided to complement their endeavors with an intensive program that aims to raise awareness on early warning systems to mitigate the impacts of changing weather conditions.
It was initially planned for West Coast region, but as Allah would have it, we brought in here. But Salama said something very important when I called her last minute so that she would host it. He said, it's a nice venue, it's in between Banjul and West Coast region, so it's a midpoint.
Amid the realities of global warming and the need to constantly adapt to current climatic transformations, officials in the Gambia see climate change awareness as crucial. A strategic 5-year plan has been put in place to mitigate and strengthen the battle to fight climate change. The project, which is funded by UNEP, is valued at $8 million.
The global problem. I think we have been exposed to, and we have been attending series of climate change workshops or meetings in which we delve deeply into climate change issues. And I want to believe that at this juncture, there are a lot of efforts, a lot of resources, a lot of time that is exerted into this climate change issue. Carbon dioxide, heat trapping, greenhouse gases that has labeled recent global warming lingers in the atmosphere for hundreds of years, and the planet, especially the ocean, takes a while to respond to the warming.
A climate change expert, Bubu Patejaro, explained how he only speaks the language of climate change, seeing the ways it has changed the world at this very crucial moment.
This is a workshop to initiate some work that will take maybe a minimum of 6 months. And you have been here, you are here to represent about thousands of people behind you. Planning is coming from the communities, and you are representing the communities. We are going to just give you some capacity as to how to look at climate change and integrate climate change in your plans. But the plans are going to come from you.
Within 6 months, The exercise is expected to be completed as planned alongside other strategic structures designed for execution.
Basically, this training is to how to mainstream climate change in local development plans. So now we are just training and building the capacity of those who will have to do that work. So when we finish here, actually the third day, we will be able to develop a work plan as to when we will start the actual work and when we will finish. So it must be scheduled. And we will have to identify who will have to take part in the development of the local plan where climate change is mainstream and integrated.
So the governor of West Coast Region, Ibrahim Mbalo, reiterated that the purpose of the training is to prepare and train local communities on how to combat climate change.
The purpose of this training is to prepare you on the procedures, processes, and to develop a framework for the inclusion of climate change in local development plans.
Officials are optimistic that at the end of the training, stakeholders will come up with meaningful plans and strategies to mitigate current climatic challenges. Modu Boyan, GRTS.
The Judicial Service Commission and Office of the Chief Justice informs the general public that His Excellency Mr. Adama Barrow, President of the Republic of the Gambia, has appointed 8 Gambian nationals as judges of the Superior Court of the Gambia. These appointments are with effect from 1st November 2017. The appointed judges are as follows: Justice Jibril B. Semegajane, Justice of the Supreme Court; Justice Raymond C. Sok, Justice of the Supreme Court; Justice Awaba, President of the Gambia Court of Appeal; Justice Hadi Cecilia Rouge, Justice of the Court of Appeal; Justice Basiru V.P. Mahoney, Justice of the Court of Appeal; Justice Kumasila Kamara, Justice of the Court of Appeal; Buba Jawo, Judge of the High Court; Ibrahim Ajaite, Judge of the High Court. Meanwhile, Antuman Gay, the special prosecutor in the case against the NIA-9, has filed new amended indictments at the High Court. Today's hearing was meant for plea taking on the amended information, but defense lawyers announced the absence of the first accused, Yankuba Baji, who is said to be sick and admitted at a local hospital. The special prosecutor later told the court that a process server was delegated to the Maltu State Central Prisons to serve the accused persons on the new amended charges, but they refused to accept service. The presiding judge consequently rescheduled the trial to October 25th for plea taking. It could be recalled that 9 former top intelligence officials of the former NIA, now State Intelligence Service, are facing trial for the alleged torture and murder of political activist Solo Sandeng, who died after his arrest under the regime of ex-president Yahya Jammeh. All the 9 have denied the charges, and several witnesses have already testified for prosecution, which is now led by a special attorney appointed by the state. The Yahya Jamanka Foundation, meant to assist a fire victim in Brikama Nyambai, has gathered funds for anonymous donors. As Bai Ibrahim Cham reports, the initiative was spearheaded by renowned radio journalist Keba Kamara.
Naming his foundation after Yahya Jamanka, a young boy who lost his life from severe first-degree burns, Keba Kamara has since stood up for a cause to use his radio and social media platforms to raise awareness of financially challenged patients, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars from Gambians all over the world. His latest initiative focuses on one Nyima Mane from Birkama Nyambai, married with 2 kids, and first-year HTC student at the Gambia College. Nyima was involved in a car accident and admitted at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital since January this year. She was later rushed to Dakar. Her husband, Samba Sima, reached out to Keba for help, and within 1 week of publishing the pictures on social media, Gambians from home and abroad mobilized funds to help the victim. The philanthropist, who have asked to remain anonymous, has donated $22,000.
I appreciate your efforts in helping me. My sincere gratitude to all and sundry. I pray for my wife, the patient, for a speedy recovery. Once again, I thank you all.
Keba stated that he was inspired by Yaya Jamanka, telling him in a dream to keep on helping needy Gambians who are seeking medical treatment.
There was a case that was brought to me. He's called Yaya Jamanka. All his body was burnt, seriously burnt. I went to this place and I was moved. There was not enough medication, enough resources, so we worked on his medical report. We were trying for him to leave the Gambia. He passed away. When he passed away, in a dream, he told me that I was coming to the hospital every day to help him. So he would like me to continue this course. And he actually asked me to help kids with burn cases. But later, I have a team, a foundation. I have a team that we help sick people, young people. And later, I realized that not only young people need help. This case right now in Brikama, she is 30 years, she is not young. But when the husband approached me, I could not ignore.
With more calls for donations coming in, Keba is quite optimistic that this will reach the financial requirements to start numerous treatment. Ibrahim Cham, GRTS News.
We will be back with sports news right after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The head coach of Gunjur Supernawatan team has claimed that his team and players are yet to receive their individual prizes as winners of last year's competition. GRTS's Modu Lamin Sane was following the development and filing this report.
Coach Babkar Boyan was speaking shortly after his defending champions drew with coastal rivals Bakau in the opening game of the 2017 Zonal Championship.
Last year we played, we win. We have our individual prize, best player, leading goal scorer. Still we don't have it. They said they give us a first step at the JFA house. Yeah.
So let's talk about this game. Coach, you talk
about the game. Listen, you have to go and fight our right because we are all Gambians. You go and fight our right. We play, we win. We have our class prize. But what about our individual prize?
But don't you think that it's late because now we have a new committee in charge?
It's not that the same bank is sponsoring the league. The committee for the same bank is sponsoring the league. So at the same bank, that's what gives us a first step. So we are not going to take it.
It was a stunning revelation which took a sign of the brilliant atmosphere in the start of the new championship. After that game and the allegations from the Gunjur camp, GRTS Sports went to see Bajabi, former chairman of the last year's Zonal Championship. He would not deny the allegations.
It's not the fault of First International Bank. First International Bank had been very, very valuable partners to the Supernawatan. In fact, they brought in a lot of value to the whole organization of the Supernawatan last year. It was the Supernawatan Organizing Committee that decided, without any pressure from any quarter, to create a new initiative. The initiative was to award excellence. We were supposed to give them trophies and and some money. At that particular time, when that ceremony was called, one of our Supernawatan Organizing Committee members, I think the Secretary General, traveled, to the provinces. In order not to stop the whole ceremony from taking place, I decided that the ceremony needed to go on by giving them something like a status, just to give them something, and then later we will give them the trophies. That's why we gave them those checks. It's just to allow the ceremony to carry on. But we told them that we will give you your trophies after the ceremonies.
Now, the disagreement came about when people had misunderstanding about who was going to fund that ceremony in Gunjur. Was it going to be the Superintendent Organizing Committee that will fund that, or was it going to be Gunjur Zonal Committee or the bank? Later on, we realized that both the Superintendent Organizing Committee and the bank, we are not going to fund that ceremony of award giving in Gunjur, but Gunjur Zonal Committee. And Gunjur Zonal Committee was not in a financial position to organize that ceremony. So that did not take place. That is one of the reasons why these awards were not given.
This story was an unwelcome development for the organizers of the widely followed community football, but with more games set to take place, fans and players alike will be hoping to enjoy the fruits of the grassroots tournament. Reporting for GRTS Sports, I am Mudlamin Sane.
And over now to the international scene. The death toll in the bomb explosion in Somalia's capital Mogadishu has risen to more than 300. Hundreds more are reported to have suffered horrific injuries. It is the deadliest to have occurred in the war-torn country. CGTN's Abdul Aziz Bilo was earlier at the scene of the blast. He sent in this report.
The KM5 junction. This is the exact location where the suicide bomber detonated the truck bomb. And behind me, the devastation is quite clear. That used to be the Red Crescent Society. And behind me, a number of hotels. And as you can see from the far, the African Union forces, the Somali National Army, the intelligence, the police, they've all come here together to work on clearing the rubble.
We've been here for the past 3 days and are continuing with the clean-up exercise. Yesterday, we pulled out 5 people alive from the rubble. We also managed to retrieve several dead bodies. In the nearby buildings, we've been notified there might be more bodies trapped under some damaged buildings.
Exactly here, hundreds of vehicles were piled up at that time of the attack. All of them public transport vehicles. The passengers who were inside those vehicles, some of them were burnt beyond recognition. And the cleanup exercise is still ongoing. On that end was the famous Safari Hotel. And 100 meters from here is the country's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The disaster here in the capital, Mogadishu, is currently being referred to as the Mogadishu Massacre. And a group of young volunteers have come together, have created a hashtag known as Mogadishu is Mourning. And a national center has been opened to assist the people who are looking for their friends and loved ones who were caught up in that blast. Abdul Aziz Bilo, CGTN, Mogadishu, Somalia.
South Africa's President Jacob Zuma is heading to the DR Congo for an official visit. Zuma will discuss security in the country with his Congolese counterpart, President Joseph Kabila. Details in the CGTN report.
President Jacob Zuma's visit to the DRC comes at a time when they increased tensions. That country's electoral commission claims they're not ready to hold the elections until April 2019. This is more than 2 years after Joseph Kabila should have already stepped aside, and the opposition is seething. President Jacob Zuma is visiting that country in his capacity as SADC's chairperson. According to International Relations Department, Zuma will hold discussions with Kabila on the issues of peace and security in the Great Lakes region, particularly with the developing situation in the DRC. It's a mere 4 months after Zuma had congratulated Kabila on a relative stability in that country. Kabila had come to South Africa in June for a bi-national commission. At the time, President Zuma urged his counterpart to ensure negotiations and dialogue rather than conflict in the DRC, saying the people of the DRC need to determine and decide their international future. President Jacob Zuma is accompanied to that country by the International Relations and Cooperations Minister, Ngwane Maita Mashabane. Yolisa Njamela for CGTN in Durban, South Africa.
We go with sports again, still on the zonals. It seems there are more pressing issues for current organizers to deal with, as match officials stayed away from the games today. The games involving Lamin and Serkunda Central was called off in dramatic fashion. GRTS's Modu Lamin Sane managed to speak to officials about the cancellation. Let's take a listen.
The Gambia Football Federation is responsible for fares increasing. So actually, they wrote, this committee, the Referees Association, wrote to the Sovereign Committee for increment, of which we were going to the letter. They just request. But if you request, you wait for your reply. You see? So at the moment, yesterday was the first game. So then after the first game, they came to get their monies. Possibly they thought they bill them below, maybe they will bill them below. Afterwards, we realized that we should sit together and talk to them, because we are not the body responsible for increasing fares of referees. Let them go home. At the next match, Lamin is playing with this team. The match will be free. This particular match is free. That means they have already prepared the game.
Obviously, I am very much disappointed, because with all the preparations that we made, look, everything being considered is a disappointment. Really, it's a big disappointment. And I think we should move from this level. This level doesn't suit us. If we want Gambian football to move, we should step away from this kind of situation.
Perfectly, we already planned for this game, and then we were also very, very confident that this game was ours. So we already clicked our 3 points with regards to how we are going to play against our opponents. We practiced that we're gonna respect them, but actually we are just disappointed that this is what is happening with regards to like referees payment. I was totally shocked. I did not even expect this, but what to do? The only thing we can do is to undress and then kick back home.
The Gambia Football Federation.
Over now to the weather report, courtesy of the Central Forecast Office. And before we take leave of you, a recap of the day's main stories. Scrutiny into the financial dealings of former President Jammeh continues as officials of institutions and close associates testify before the Jammeh Commission. The Gambia has joined the international community to commemorate World Food Day. The head coach of Gunjul Super Nawatan team has claimed that individual prizes of last year's competition have not been paid to the side. And the death toll in the bomb blast in Mogadishu has risen to 300 as hundreds more people suffer horrific injuries. Well, viewers, that was all in this edition of the News at 10. From me, Winifred Nicole, and the entire news team, thanks for the pleasure of your company, and do have a peaceful night.